So Bethune Cookman has hired a new coach, post Ed Reed saga here. All right. Now Woody, Raymond Woody Jr. is his full name here. He was a former coach of FAU and Florida State as an assistant there. And he's going to take the job at his alma mater, Bethune. He was there in the early, mid-'90s there as a really good defensive player. And he's going to be taking over for Bethune. I can't say for Ed Reed because Ed Reed wasn't technically hired, I guess.
Yeah.
And Bethune has officially said that this guy is officially hired.
So much smoother.
That's a little smoother there. It's interesting to his first statement, Woody's first statement. I thought was interesting, and I'm trying to get the exact words, but it was something as in, I know what I'm getting into here. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if it was a little knock on Ed.
I absolutely do. Not so much a personal knock on it. The general impression that you had from the Ed Reed debacle was that he didn't quite know what he was getting into.
Right.
That he had some ideas of how things would or should operate, and it wasn't coming that way. So I actually think it's a very intelligent statement, aside from Ed Reed. But you definitely want to assure people that that you know what you're getting into.
Right. So just a couple of things about Woody here. Well, of course, first of all, Bethune has been really bad lately. Finished 2-9 each of the past 2 seasons. We know that, and the school as a whole is not in that much better of condition. Alrighty, kind of mirrors the football team.
We're 2-9 in academics. Tough sledding here in the classroom.
Tough sledding in the classroom as well. So he's the article here saying he's a seasoned Division I assistant with 13 years of experience. He was a high school coach in Florida prior to that. Alrighty.
I think in the Tampa area.
Right in the Tampa area.
Yeah.
Woody stuck with Taggart throughout his head coaching stops at South Florida, Oregon, and Florida State. So they seem to be close buddies.
For sure. They're both. Taggart was originally from the Tampa area too.
Oh, okay, so that's where they met. So he at BCU he was All-American, first team, All MEAC as well. And that was his playing career. He's known as a top recruiter. He's won Recruiter of the Year several times in the Pac-12. So he's known as a sort of a master recruiter, which is interesting because we're definitely going to need that. First of all, he's coming in at a tough time. As far as the recruiting trail for
that's
this year.
an understatement.
yeah, it's really an understatement. So if he is a master recruiter, they're going to need every piece and every ounce of that. So I'm kind of glad they went after, because they targeted him right after the Ed Reed saga. And I'm glad they targeted a guy that's good at recruiting versus a guy who has, whatever, the best X's and O coaches guy, because you're really going to need to bring in and regardless of what he is as a coach, hopefully he can hire some guys on his staff that can really coach the X's and O's,
Yeah. I mean, he was at Florida State. He was our linebackers coach in the Willie Taggart era.
Yeah.
True to what you said, he was noted as a really good recruiter. He was primarily in his hometown area, like the West Florida area was kind of his recruiting territory, as it were.
Okay.
And he got prospects out of there. When he was there, there's Armwood High School over in Tampa, and FSU had not gotten a player out of Armwood in literally years and years and years.
And they have a good football program.
Yeah, very good. They have a lot of prospects, and I think Jimbo had even offended people there at some point. But through the efforts of Woody, we did get a couple guys out of that high school, as part of Willie's recruiting classes. Taggart's career, obviously, since Florida State has taken a downturn, and we were talking before the show, it's kind of a funky thing because, when you're an assistant on somebody's staff and the staff, the head guy goes down, you basically go down with him, and, it kind of potentially stains your reputation. Can you really coach, or did you really recruit that well if, the operation didn't succeed? But I really think that this is a good opportunity for him. I think it's his first head coaching job at the college level. Mm-hmm. So, excellent to step up. But, I mean, he was noted as a good guy with a great personality and like again recruiting chops, and so we'll see what he can do there. I like the hire.
Yeah, what's interesting as well is it could still fall in the same vein of these other guys like Ed Reed and Deion, because this is a guy who has coached as an assistant on the D1 level at high schools, Florida State, FAU, et cetera, et cetera. It would be seamless to think that this guy wants to be a head coach on that level as well.
For sure.
So if he comes in and at a daunting task of turning this football program and helping the school turn around, if he completes that, you'd have to think that his coaching prospects on a higher level would.
The only thing that he has bad is
Juan
his
just wants
age.
some money. Huh?
No.
The only downside he has is his age.
Yeah.
I think he's mid-50s.
Yeah, he's
and,
old,
I mean, again, assuming it'll take a couple years to turn it around, there's not a whole lot of, big Power 5 teams that are looking to hire, guys that are almost 60 who don't have some serious resume.
Juan, you think like being on a coaching staff, like if you're an assistant, can it really taint you? How difficult is that if your head coach guy, is a bad coach and you kind of hitch your wagon to him, as an assistant? How much of a detriment could that be to your coaching career?
Well, coaching is just like anything is. You have to know. You have to be able to read situations and know when to get out. So, like, we're talking about this Willie Taggart example. After Florida State, it seemed like he saw the writing on the wall and knew, he had to, in order for him to progress his own career, instead of going to FAU and being an assistant under Willie, he chose.
I think he did, though.
Oh, so he was an assistant.
He went with Willie to FAU?
Yeah.
Oh, he was just there now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, I mean, I would say that.
Well, we're respectfully saying like that, like Taggart's downturn in his career, being associated on that staff, is the reason why he's probably taking a 2-9 Bethune job instead of a Power 5.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, that's.
I mean, if he'd gone, put it this way, if he was a high level recruiter at Florida State for Willie Taggart, and Willie Taggart got us to 10 wins. He'd probably be looking at a bigger job. Right.
He's not at Bethune.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, even though this is alma mater and they're in trouble and et cetera, he's not at Bethune, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that it was definitely detrimental because I wouldn't say the Florida State deal as much as the FAU deal. Because, again, if you can't win at FAU like Lane Kiffin had proved to do it, and even in basketball like Dusty Mays have you seen what he's doing? They're top 25 in the country. Like, if you can't win there and in that league in Florida with the best resources in that league, it's hard to win pretty much damn near anywhere. And yeah, you're right, Pink. He had to take that job.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a head job, and he's got a chance to really, like, if he gets them to 6 wins in 2 years, like, he's probably got to get up out of there.
Yeah,
because he's really just rebuilding his rep to try to go be a coordinator
again,
and assistant
I bring
somewhere
up his age. He's not ancient, but and maybe this is appealing to Bethune, is that in his mid-50s, this is a guy you're probably not going to have a one season transformation. That if he gets 2-3 years into this, he's close to 60, he's enjoying some success, he might be like, yeah, this is not a bad place for me to go. I've got things rolling. The environment is what I like. Because, again, what is the market for, let's say, 58-year-old guys with, if HBCU head coaching experience? Where's the upside?
Yeah, the other thing, too, is, like, it's a two-way street with this. Like, if you're Bethune, you were 2-9, you are receiving national attention for all the wrong reasons. They're, with all due respect to this guy, he is probably not competing with a long list of people to be their head coach.
Right.
That as well.
And
not prominent guys.
And
good coaches.
We're in February now, and the tail end of the cycle is on its last leg in terms of the recruiting cycle. National Signing Day has come and gone. Staffs are pretty much assembled both collegiately and in the NFL. So it's a combination of what I just mentioned. And at this point in this guy's career, he just had to take what he could get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, hopefully it works out, and there's no reason to assume it can't. I mean, that's really the facts of it.
Yeah, I think it was the absolute best case scenario for Bethune coming out of this whole mess that it really was.
Also too, like, for this guy, you mentioned the last 3 places he was at. Those are pressure cooker environments, and Florida Atlantic coming off the Lane Kiffin era where he had resounding success. I believe that Willie didn't get enough time to do what he needed to do there. This isn't that situation. Like this year at Bethune, he probably needs to win 2 or 3 games, and that's a successful season. Next year, he's got to win 4 or 5. It helps if you beat FAMU. Lose every game, beat FAMU.
There you go.
You're
now
a
you're
goat.
talking.
You're a goat.
Juan knows something good.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's going to come down to.
So I think
we lost the last 4.
I think that helps both both parties here, that you're not in a pressure cooker like we got to win every game environment.
Sure. No.
And for Bethune is, hey, if you can't get an alumni or an alum to resurrect your program, then it must really be a damn hard job. So,
no, that's a way to wrap up on that. There's not any news from Ed on the Ed Reed side.
Yeah, what's Ed doing these days?
Yeah, I know, right?
Is he still lingering on Daytona?
I've been in Daytona the last couple weekends, not to look for Ed, but I've been on campus and all that stuff.
You see my friend Ed,
but no one's seen him. And the say, because Daytona's a small town. If you're there, they're going to know you're there. Just like the guy we had on said it. Yeah. But no news. So I've said it. I said it before. I think that pretty much kills his head coaching, opportunities at least for the next couple of years.
For sure.
But we'll see if he goes back to his job at Miami as a whatever he was,
an analyst.
Yeah, whatever,
or director of operation or something like that.
Yeah,
I think he'll get back in the cycle next year because again, attention's a hell of a drug, and somebody's going to want to resurrect their program by bringing in a guy who's been in the headlines.
Yeah, I don't see it. I really will be surprised if he's a serious candidate for any sort of head coaching job. He almost has to, if he's serious about it, he almost has to just get in the grind and get an assistant's job, on-field assistant's job, and put together, some good work. Get in there and coach a secondary and that, kind of be a strength of a team.
Yeah, but does he want to do that though?
Well, that's the question.
He made a hell of a lot of money during his career. I don't know how motivated
that's the question,
he is.
and that's what I always question Deion's motivation at the outset. I'm like, how bad does he really want this?
Yeah,
because it's a grind.
Yeah,
and in a way, like he didn't want the assistance thing. He wanted the head job. He played his cards right to get that, and away it goes. It's I just think, but Ed Reed really screwed himself. I mean, Deion has been like pitch perfect in all like public interactions.
No question, but the one thing we can't forget is Deion's got his kids doing this.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. But I mean, I don't see Ed Reed coming back unless he's willing to do the grind and prove that he's more than just some guy that wants to spout off.
A quick note here. I saw an interview of Eddie George. He sat down with Shannon Sharp on Shannon Sharp's personal podcast. And I thought of some interesting things that he said. He wouldn't touch, like Shannon asked him directly about Ed Reed and Deion's specific situations. He wouldn't really touch that. But I thought it was interesting how, like, Shannon asked him about his where does Eddie see himself coaching. And Eddie said, hey, Tennessee State knows, if I do have coaching desires on the NFL level, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At first, he says before he took that job, he hadn't dreamed of wanted to be a coach at all. Tennessee State reached out to them, wanted him to help turn that around. They were in a similar situation to Bethune. And he came in and he's doing that. He's helping and working to turn around. But now he has this coaching like
you get the bug, man. You get the
coaching bug.
Yeah.
And he says, man, hey, I let him know, hey, I do have desires to coach at the next level, the NFL, and if I'm able to get there, I will get there. So he kind of told him about that, and I thought that was interesting. So, but Eddie is he carries such a low profile. I don't think it'll
Which is what the NFL wants. I mean, he's got to carry a low profile because he's got to prove that he can coach one side of the ball at an elite level. And if he can
he hasn't done that yet.
Yeah, which if he can do that, he's going to have a chance to make the NFL. But I mean, again, I see Matt Patricia, who's a defensive guy, being the offensive coordinator for one of the best coaches to ever live. And
but that was a disaster as people thought it would be. But and also just to tie it, not to leave there, he was talking about how number one, why Tennessee State was in the position that it was, and he was talking about how the funds were what they from. Remember, we talked off air about the millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars that the state was withholding from them, and now they've gotten awarded. And even though it was awarded back, what I didn't know what he talked about, it came with stipulations.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, okay, I was telling Pink off air, okay, they getting all this money back. Now they're going to be able to spend it on a football program and this and that. But Eddie was saying on the podcast, the state is telling them, well, you can only spend this money on pre-existing buildings. Like you can't spend it where you want it to go, a football program and a science department, whatever. It has to go to pre-existing buildings, and that's just a hawk of BS. But these are the things that happens to HBCUs, and the reason why is a lot of them are in the conditions they are, along with certain mistakes that certain people in leaderships make as well. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, it was a very interesting interview, and again, how the allocation of that money is controlled.
Yeah,
and just kind of wild.